Wow. Wow. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you guys. We're so excited you're here today. We have a little bit of a change up. We were going to have Rebecca Richardson on today, but she had a last minute scheduling conflict. And so pop in my friend Amor here. And then Rebecca will join us at another time. So thank you guys so much for joining us for another installment of Notorious Women in Mortgage. Let's go ahead and get it kicked off. We're not going to do too much time. I'm sure you guys know my friend Amor here. We have been friends for like a decade, and we've been creating alongside each other for a lot of those years. She's actually the brilliance behind the branding, the website, all that stuff that you guys are seeing, also behind my own social media. You know, what's great about working with people that you really love, and she's brilliant at it, is I can give her, I'm like, I need it to feel like this. And then she runs, and she's amazing at it. So welcome. Thanks for jumping in last minute.
Yay, it's fun. We haven't been live in so long together, and I think it's like fun. So I was all
buckle up, you guys. Buckle up. It's been a while. A while.
Let us know when you pop on also, please, so we can say hi and let us know that you're here, because we love to. It's all about, and we're all about energy, right? So the energy is what drives us and keeps us going. So when we see your comments and when we know that you're here with us, it gets us going even more.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's first chat about the event that we're hosting. Amor has helped me plan it and doing all the branding and all that kind of stuff. So share with me why you're not in mortgage. No. It's designed for women in mortgage, but we're not going to talk loan programs. No. Really women in business. So why don't you share with me what you're so excited to come to the event for?
Yeah. Well, you know, what's interesting is it's kind of full circle for me. So I'm not in mortgage now. I'm not in real estate any longer, but for people who know, I was in the real estate industry for 18 years, almost 2 decades in the real estate industry in various ways, shapes, and forms. And so coming back when you asked me to jump on board with this, it just felt like such a full circle moment. Like I get to all of the knowledge that I've accumulated in all of these years in and outside of real estate and mortgage and outside of the industry, and seeing what we're able to do with your brand and how we're able to, I mean, it's not just your brand and what you're doing with mortgage and in the mortgage industry. It's literally, you're creating an entire movement that is shifting the industry completely. Right. And so for me, I was like, I'm in however you want me to show up and help other women in this industry do the same thing, because chances are you're not the only one, right, that has something bigger that you want to do, whether it's inside or outside of the industry. But outside of what you do in mortgage, I think is the biggest thing that I love to help women do, is like, you're not just a mortgage lady, right? You're not just someone who's helping people get loans, which is hugely important, very impactful in life. But we all have something more that we want to say as women, more that we want to do. We have a bigger message and a bigger mission that we want to put out in the world. And for me, it's what is the legacy that you're leaving? And if I can help women in mortgage do that, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I always think to myself, I do mortgage, like that's how I monetize my space online, you know, and I do have you know me, I have a lot to say about a lot of things.
We all do, right?
Yeah, a lot to say. So thanks guys for joining us. I mean, I'm sure if you guys have been watching, there was definitely a glow up online over the past, 6 months or so that we've been working together. And even like having that shift for myself and being able to step into a higher version of myself, taking on this event and, with all the branding, it was like that reminder of like, even though you may not feel like you're there yet, you have to take those steps anyways before you get there. Like that's how you get there, So it's like, I could sit here and just wait for, that event to happen, or you create it in motion. I know we were talking I think I sent it to you the other day, how I was, this thing around permission, and it's like, as women, we're kind of often just waiting for somebody to give us permission or invite us to the table. The same thing with like, this is kind of where the event came from, is, feeling not really included in a lot of things within mortgage, and not that a lot of panels like really resonated with me, because I would look at them to be like all male panels, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm sure what you have to say is great, but if there's not females up there, like, it wasn't hitting home for me. And I think Christine Beckwith said something like, stop waiting for somebody to like invite you to the stage, like build your own stage. And I was like, fuck it, like I'll build my own damn stage. Like,
Right.
I don't need you to invite me. Like, I would love for you to invite me on your panel, but if you're not going to invite me on your panel, I don't need your validation. Like, a lot of times we're waiting for somebody to like give us the validation that we're worthy, and like somehow, like, if you invite me to the table, like that claims my worth. And it was like, no, what I have to say is valuable. I know that. Whether you know that or not is a whole nother thing. And if you're not going to invite me to that stage, I'm going to build my own stage, and I'm going to bring the women that I think are doing great things in this industry that maybe are getting passed by, because I don't know about you, but it kind of feels like every panel is the same people, in every industry.
Totally.
It's like, all right, I heard the same 5 men or whatever. Even if there's a chosen woman in there, it was like, okay, like, let's get some more people up there, because then this just becomes like good old boys club. Like, I need more diversity and more inclusion and more people with a new story that I can identify instead of the same old stuff. So that's part of the reason why we created this event for, women that feel like me. And I'm like, let's get us all together. Let's mastermind together, because there's something really beautiful when we all come together in a common purpose and a common cause. Like, there's an energy that you can't even create. You can't create that energy on your own. Like, it's like 2 or more people come together in my name. 2 minds make a third more powerful mind. There's something about the synergistic energy when people are working together. And I know that because that's like when we work together. It's like it takes on a whole energy of its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's fun. Yeah. So
it gets so much more fun. And I think, especially for anyone who's contemplating, Jen Gutierrez said, build it and they will come 1,000%. And we know that, right? We know that. And we've heard that so many times. How many times in our life have we heard that? Yet there are so many women who have something that they want to build. They have an idea in their mind. They have a movement or a mission. And they're like, gosh, if someone would just create this. And we know that if we build it, they will come. And there's so many, we almost stop ourselves short from starting to create the thing for people to come, because just like you having this thought and just seeing the need, right? It's like you're filling the gap, you're bridging the gap. We discussed the whole thing. I mean, you see it in the mortgage industry, how there are not a lot of space for women on the panels. And so you were showing me that, and I was seeing it just in my newsfeed with like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. Like, they're the same men creating the same freaking panels in, the personal development space. And then over in the spiritual space, they have their own panels, and you see these same people circling on the podcast. It's the same men. And same thing, they'll throw token women in their event. Like, occasionally you'll see women on the panel, and it's like, okay, well, here you go. Here's the need. You see the need, and you know that if you build it, people will come. But how many times are we not doing that as women? Because we feel like, oh my gosh, it's too big. That's beyond me. Who's going to come if I do? And that's exactly what you're saying. Like, and that's what I think is so exciting about Notorious and this whole event is you're going to be in a room with all these women who have these bigger visions, who have the connections, who have the networks. It's like not just pulling up your seat at the table and like claiming your stake at the table, but it's coming together in collaboration and saying, I have this like wild idea. What do you think about this? And that volley of like just bouncing it off of people, immediately it picks up this energy. And like you said, it takes on a life of its own, because I mean, we've discussed this so many times over the years, right? And there's that book by Elizabeth Gilbert. What is it called?
Big Magic.
Big Magic, right? Like, the idea is coming to you for a reason, but if we don't do something with it, it needs to take form. It needs to take shape. So it's going to move to someone who's going to take action on it. So it's like, we have these ideas, we have these big movements, we have these things that we want to create in the world outside of mortgage, outside of real estate, outside of the thing that we're doing that helps us monetize our life. we have these bigger things that we want to create. And sometimes they feel so big that we don't take action on it. We're like, I don't know, how am I going to do this? But when you put yourself in a space and in a circle with other women who are like, let's fucking go. What do you got? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And everyone's throwing their big ideas and big surprises out there. You have the support, you have the camaraderie, you have the other ideas, you have the network, you have, I mean, all of these resources. What's happening? I don't know.
No, it's the gardeners. Like, thank you for showing up in perfect timing during my live stream.
Press mute until they go away. I don't know. But having that support, having the resources, having the community around you to get the wheels in motion, or someone to tell you like, hey, that's a great idea. What if you added this? Or what if you changed it to this? It might be, you know what I mean? It's like putting all of that together will get you the momentum, will get you moving in that big idea. So you don't feel left to our own devices. We will sabotage it. We will never take action on it. We will never do it. And it will come to the end of the life and we're like, damn, I really wish I did that thing. Or we see somebody else do it. And then we're like, oh, I had that idea. I wanted to do that thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's events like this are so necessary for women to not only get together with other women, feel supported in what we're doing in business, but what else do you want to do beyond mortgage, beyond what you're doing right now to make money in the world? Like, what is your big mission?
Yeah. And also too, I think it's curating, hopefully these gardeners don't fuck this up, but it's also curating a pack of women. Like, I've even noticed it with building this event. There's a difference between I want to help you. Let me know how I can help you, whatever you need. Yeah. And hey, I know who you should meet. Let me connect you. Yeah. Let me connect you, because I have noticed even in building the event, those people are your pack. Like, because they have your back. It's not lip service. It's like, when somebody goes, I believe in what you're doing, I'm willing to open up my network to you. Yeah. Like, that is the biggest compliment.
Yeah, huge.
You know? Yeah. Like, literally, let me dig into my Rolodex and how do I support you? Yeah. Right. And that's really hard to find women like that to run with, because a lot of times there is, oh, hey, Tina, Melissa, Cheryl, Heather. There is a competition where people feel like, zero-sum game. I gotta win. If I don't win, and like, if you win, then I lose. Instead of, no, there's enough for all of us.
Yeah,
there's enough for all of us to be successful here in the movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, for joining us. Let's also talk. What else do you want to talk about? You want to talk about business and branding stuff, or do you want to talk spirituality and energy in your business?
Well, let's do both. We'll move from one to the next. Right. We got some time.
We have email right here too. It's driving me bananas. Can you tell it's driving me bananas?
Stop it, because I have to edit that shit out.
Fuck, I'm sorry. There's something about like hangnail. You guys, this is too much information. I'm sorry, but hangnails and then like food in your teeth. Like, I can't get off of it. I take medication so I can hopefully get off of it, but I'm sorry. All right, we're going to delete all that bullshit. Okay. Where do you want to start? All of the above. Let's start with spiritual practice in building a business, because sometimes people don't think that those two topics go hand in hand. I will tell you that has been so much of the success that I have achieved has been through so many years of digging into, you could call it personal development. You could also call it spirituality, because like, there's a reason why through all of these veins of religion and personal development and spirituality, they all kind of have very similar base stories to tell. And so whatever you want to call it that. But let's talk about building your business with a spiritual foundation.
Well, I believe that business is a completely spiritual experience. And everything that we're experiencing in business is showing us areas that we need to grow in, heal, right? Things that we need to heal. So if there's areas in our business where we're like, oh my gosh, like money shit, right? Money shit's coming up. Well, that's something internally. We're blocking the flow of energy in order to receive money. There's so many different facets of it. We've talked about the masculine, the feminine energetics in business, right? What does that look like and feel like as a woman in business? Am I operating from my masculine? And that's fine, but is that from a wounded space? Am I chasing things that I don't really necessarily need to? Is it feeling hard when it feels hard and it feels like I'm struggling to get the business or struggling to make shit happen in my business? Those are all like red flags. Like, it really should feel flowy and easy. That doesn't mean that we don't do things. That doesn't mean that shit's not getting done, right? But it shouldn't ever feel like a struggle or a challenge. And I totally believe that. And I know people are on the other side of it where they're like, it's, you got to work hard to get. And I don't believe that that is true. I used to assign to that belief, and I don't believe that anymore because I've experienced both sides of it. And I don't believe that it has to be hard in order to get.
Yeah, we're going to stay here. We're going to stay in this topic for a second, because right now let's talk about the facts. Right now in mortgage, it might be a more challenging for some environment, right? Rates are higher than they were. These fuckers. Rates are higher than they okay. Rates are higher than they were. And some people are legit feeling stuck and blocked and all of that. So what do you do when you're like, well, the reality is my experience is this is hard. My experience is, there are no clients for me. My experience is one thing, but you want me to work from where? How do you bridge that gap? Because I think that can help a lot of people right now.
Yeah. So I think personally, because I've been on that side, right? So, and not necessarily in mortgage, but like I've been on that side of it. And I think that there's a lot of, for me, again, this is just my own personal experience and how I've done it and worked through it. Oh my gosh, Danielle, I love this. I love seeing everybody pop on. We're going to call it our nooners. These are our nooner people. But again, because I see it as a reflection, it doesn't mean it's easy, right? It just means that we need to get simplified with the experience. So, okay, it's like, where's the money going to come from? Where are the clients going to come from? Where's the next deal going to come from? Like, and you start getting in that space of like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. You're digging yourself deeper in the energy that's lower vibration. And all that does, right? If we're going to get into this, we're going to get into energetics. So we're into like the energy, the vibration, the frequency. What are you a match for? The longer we stay connected to those lower energetics, the lower vibration, that lower frequency, that's the oh shit, that's the desperation, that's the oh, I don't even know what's going to happen. We're just going to attract more of that, right? Because it's like attracts like. It's a magnetic frequency. It's just going to bring more of that feeling into your space, and it's not going to attract any new clients. How can you attract clients to you or bring anything like that to you, the things that you want, if you're sitting in that energetic space? What we have to do then is, what tools do we use? What can we do to elevate ourselves? And it doesn't need to jump very high. And this is something that we teach, right? Like you can, it's possible to go from like 0 to 100 in your space. Like you could go from really sad to really, I was laughing hysterically, crying one moment, laughing hysterically the next, right? Like you can change that quickly. But when it comes to business, especially, you want to, if you're not practiced in this, especially if can't move, shift yourself out of energy very quickly, and this is new for you. Actually, if this is new for you, I'd love to see this in the comments. Like if this incorporating spiritual practices in your business is new for you, please drop a 1 below. That would be great, so we can see who we're working with. If this is not new for you, drop a 2 below. So going into, first of all, I think surrounding yourself with people who can help you out of it, right? Like when I'm in this space of like, I will call Paige and I'm like, this is some fucked up shit right now. I'm not feeling really good. And getting someone to help you elevate out of that space and start speaking truth to you. Because oftentimes when we're assigning to that frequency and to that lower vibration of, oh my God, doom and gloom, the market's terrible, the rates are horrible, when are we ever going to get out of this? When is this going to shift? When is this going to change? And then you start getting into panic. And then we start future tripping, thinking about all the stuff future wise that we need to pay for, that we need money for, and all of this. We're literally like catapulting ourselves deeper down into the thing. And so it's like when we can get surrounded by people, again, this is where Notorious comes right back in. How many people can you have around you in your circle that can elevate you up, right? That can elevate you up when you're in those spaces, because we're all human. We're all going to have this experience. So having someone that you can call immediately to say, this is the thing, because when you speak the negativity like to someone and get it out of you, chances are it's not real. We're believing stuff that it feels very real in that moment. It feels like it's like the worst and how am I going to get out of it? But again, when two or more are together, someone's going to have an idea for you, or someone's going to help you shift that mindset of like, why are you thinking this? Right. So there are multiple ways out of it. But again, for me, it's like having the conversation with someone. Sometimes it's journaling, write down everything you got to get the negative emotion and the energy outside of you. Right. It's like trapped in your body, trapped in your mind. We're going to take action off of what's based on that. If we want to attract more in alignment of what it is that we want, we have to shift that energy outside of us. The other thing that this is a longer tangent, but I'm just going to drop the nugget, is going deeper into where the fear comes from. So healing, right? For me, it's all healing. So where's that old money story coming from? If we're constantly reverting back to that, like being in need or being in lack or being in want or fear of not having enough money, where is the original source of that wound and where did it come from? And so for me, it's all healing is the foundation of everything we do. Paige and I have healed together multiple times in different ways, various modalities. It's a constant practice to rewire our subconscious so that we can get to those next levels. That's like the reality is the foundation of it is healing a lot of that stuff. So I could go on forever, but go for it.
Yeah, no, I would say like for me, a lot of the times in building a business, this has been the one thing that like if I allow it to and use the tools that I have correctly, strengthens my spiritual connection, because I have to strengthen that, because that's how I shift it. And it's also like, what kind of questions are you asking yourself? So instead of like the woe is me, and I get the fear, because if you're in sales, there is no guarantee, and you like, where's that next client coming from? And it's very easy to go down that road, right? Especially when the economy is a little funky right now. Totally. But it's, instead of looking at that and going down that road, you can shift it pretty quickly if you ask yourself, like, what is it that I need to have right now in order not to feel like this? Mm-hmm. And so maybe you need more patience. I'm just going to tell you guys mine.
Yeah.
What I usually need is, I'm going to need more patience. I'm going to need to give myself grace. I'm going to need to love myself some more. I'm going to need to have some more faith. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have more trust. Mm-hmm. I'm going to need, and it tells me based upon whatever I'm feeling, what do I need? If I had more faith that God would only give me a plan if he was going to, would only give me a vision if he was going to give me a plan. I don't need to know the plan. I just need to take the steps. If I had more faith in that, I wouldn't feel scared.
Yeah.
If I had more patience, then I wouldn't feel like this. God, if I could just love myself a little bit more, it almost comes down almost always from, could you love yourself a little bit more? Okay, got you. Or maybe give yourself grace. And the more that I can do that with myself, the more I can do it with other people. Mm-hmm. And then it's like the daily action in your business is now for me, my spiritual practice. Mm-hmm. It's like, what is it that I believe? And what's great about being in business is you can get a lot of opportunities to strengthen that, and as long as you look at it as opportunity, some people want to run from those feelings because those feelings don't necessarily feel good, right? It don't feel good to feel like in fear. It doesn't feel good to feel scared. It doesn't feel good to feel like you trying something new, you're probably going to look stupid half the time. Like you got to be okay with that, because it don't feel good. But then when it's an opportunity to move you to a higher place, that's a belief system. I believe everything is unfolding in my highest good. Absolutely. It's a belief system. These are choices that you get to make in your business and in your life. And they're active choices, like active. And at the beginning, it's going to be real active. Like extremely active.
Uncomfortably active.
Like, you have to tell it because you're like, I don't feel this. I don't feel like I'm successful. I don't feel like it's working. I don't feel like, and you have to train your mind to take over at the beginning until you solidify that belief system so hard that then it becomes unconscious. And then that's the fun part, because then shit starts happening and it don't feel hard anymore. You're just like, yeah, because I'm in this alignment and I have this level of expectation and I have solidified what I believe. And that belief then informs how you feel.
Totally. I mean, that's like the foundation is always, everything is working in my highest and best. It's always working out in my favor. Like that, I don't even care if it goes sideways. That is in my favor. Yeah. And a few things that came up when you were talking was that I wanted to bring up in case anybody's watching, because take the nuggets that you're hearing and take what resonates and like sit with it, let it work its magic, and whatever doesn't, just throw it out the window because it wasn't for you, right?
Yeah.
But something that came up was stop forcing. Like, don't force things. If you feel like you're having to force stuff and make it happen, then that's again, it's your red flag, right? Like your business is like dating. Like it's like dating. Like there's red flags all over the place. And that means if it's a red flag, it's a course correction. Like what is this here to show me? If it's the door keeps slamming shut for me, what is it that I'm missing? What's the message I'm missing? What am I not seeing? What am I not hearing?
That's real hard for type A achievers, right?
It is. I mean, that's me.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a pusher.
Recovery. High achiever here. Doesn't mean I don't.
Yeah. It's very, because you have to go from being a leader to letting yourself be led.
Yeah. Like let God lead. Woo! Let the universe lead me. Yeah. Yes. That's a big one.
Active surrender.
Yep. Active surrender is huge in your business. The second thing that came up was if you're feeling like you're stuck or stalled in your business, or you're scared of the way shit's happening in the industry right now, don't feel like you have to do things the way that you've always done them. Be open to doing it a different way. And that's what, I mean, if you need proof, Paige is a prime example of how this works, right? Like she doesn't do business. She is highly successful in the mortgage industry, and she doesn't do it any way that anybody teaches any way to do fucking sales or anything. Okay. And it's proof that you don't have to follow the cookie cutter stamp of how it's taught, or what you see other people doing. The most successful people do things that are aligned with them, that are true and authentic to who they are. And being okay with doing that yourself, because I promise you, and I'm speaking again from experience outside of the industry, it crosses over any industry that you're in. So even if you're watching and you're not in mortgage or real estate, it doesn't matter. We're all in whatever niche you're in, whatever industry you're in, we're all taught a way. And we all see people who are successful that went before us, and we're like, oh, well, that must be the way. I must do it that way. I did this as a coach, right? And that's really the longest way to do it. That doesn't mean you won't be successful, and it doesn't mean you won't make money, but honestly, it's not going to feel really good. It will feel forcing. It will feel like a struggle and a challenge when you get into your own groove and give yourself permission. We talked about permission in the very beginning. Give yourself permission. Don't wait for somebody else. If you need permission, we're telling you right now, do it your own fucking way. You have permission from this moment forward to do it however feels best for you. Even if that's a message that isn't really popular, it's a way that nobody really does it, and you think that nobody's really going to get it, do it however you want to do it, because you'll make the most money when it feels in most alignment with who you are. Like that's hands down. That's the second thing. The third thing that came up is, don't limit yourself from doing things that are outside of the sphere of what you think it is that you're only meant to do. And so again, Paige is a prime example. Like she's been doing mortgage for years. She's done other stuff in the perimeter, but now she feels called to do this, create a whole ass fucking movement in an entire industry. And she's going for it. Don't limit yourself when you hear the call to do something, when a door of opportunity opens for you and you're like, that may not be the way, because now she's creating another stream of income for herself. Okay. So you're sitting here worried about like, oh no, how am I going to get the next deal? Mortgage this, mortgage that, real estate this, real estate that, the industry, the market, the blah, 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 and all of this fear, when you could still do that and also do something else that will bring you more income in another way that's going to also be in alignment with you, be where a heart of service in a way that you can serve and help people in the world in a bigger way. Don't be afraid to jump into doing something else that you're called to, because that could probably be another big aspect of why you're here on this earth, right? We get so pigeonholed in like, I chose this industry, I chose this profession, and so here I am to do this thing. And that could very well be also why you're here. But there are other things. Again, don't stop yourself. Don't limit yourself. Again, speaking from experience, I didn't think that I was going to be doing all of this and what I'm doing here with Paige and with the industry and all, like, had no clue, but I allowed myself to be open to opportunities and say yes to things that feel aligned. And I'm doing stuff like all over the place that seems like it's not connected, and it's all connected, and it feels so good. And all it's doing is allowing me to create more streams of income in ways that are very much aligned and very high in service.
Dude, I don't like all the streams of income, by the way. All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan. I mean, we all know that real estate, we got to go in a second because Moni's got to do shit. But, you know, mortgage is cyclical, right? And so if you can find a way to uncyclical the cyclicalness of the industry, great. If not, I'll say when you, like, sometimes people get just, they stop. They don't like fear and indecision and confusion and all of that, like doubt, worry. That is like the first thing gets you to stop doing anything. And that's the wrong thing, because then you don't have any momentum. Yeah. It's real easy once you have momentum to be able to like shift course because you're in forward motion. Then if you are stagnant and you're not doing anything because you're scared. And so the quickest thing is, I need you to take an action. I don't even care if it's the right action. I just need to take an action.
Or it's messy. Yeah.
Yeah, messy. You don't know what you're doing, but like get some momentum behind you. So then you allow like God to come in and show you those next steps, but he's not going to pull out the plan or the map for you or the whatever. Like
you're going to do shit with it.
No, because you're not moving. You need to take some steps, right? So that's the first part. You got to get into action and then allow that course to, you know, move out in front of you. Because sometimes if we can get momentum in one side of our life, the other side naturally gets momentum too. Also, get yourself around other people that are in momentum. People know if you are close to me, I'd be calling you and I'd be like, or reaching out to you and be like, let's go. Let's go, because like we are all moving in a pack. If you have friends, if they're in this industry or not, we are made for community. Yeah. If you have friends that are, if they are woe is me, things are too expensive and money's not coming in and nobody's closing deals and the economy and blah, 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 blah.
I don't want it.
100%.
I'm out.
Yeah. If you have a bad day, we can talk about a bad day and we can go back and forth.
You better be moving on a solution with that shit.
Yeah.
You better be moving on solution with it.
Yeah. But if that is your constant mental space, I don't want to be around that, because that's going to bring my production down. So like if like you're in my circle, you know, like we might be like, oh, these clients, blah, 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 blah. But that's just for that moment, right? Because we are moving. We are closing deals. We're making money. We're spending time with our family. We're creating lives of our own creation instead of allowing life to happen to us. So I know you got to go. It's 12:35.
I have like 10 minutes. I mean,
okay. We keep going. Yeah. We keep going. Yes. And we are made for community, especially as women. Like we really need each other. And there is just a real amazing magic that happens when we can come in together in community, even when we're like, technically, you could say we're competition. But when you have that belief system that there is no competition, there is always enough. There's enough for
more than enough. Yeah.
More than enough for all of us. Then like my friend Brenna, we don't fight, but we have the same mark. Like our ideal client is the same person.
Yeah.
On paper, right? I deal with people a little bit differently. They're going to resonate with me. She's from the South and she's real cute. And so if you want a bedtime story read to you, she's your girl, because I want a bedtime story read to me with her cute little accent. So we're going to have different people that we work with, in that same ideal client. And so what's great is we'll be in the same place. And it's like, if somebody mentioned Brenda, I'm like, yeah, go to her. If she don't work out, come to me.
Yeah.
Right. Or like, great people in this thread. There's so many great people you could work with. Like, we're not fighting over one client, because one client don't make or break my business.
Right.
And so it all.
This is so huge. Okay, I'm going to press pause on you right now, because if you are in any industry, and when you see someone, and when you're in these groups and people are recommending someone else that you know that you could do the exact same thing, wherever your mindset goes in that moment, when you see that comment, if it goes to, damn it, like, if it feels like low and like yucky and like competitive, you know that you're in a lack mindset. You're not in abundance mindset. If you feel and think like Paige just said, oh my gosh, that's so cool for her, like that's great for her, and if it doesn't work out for her, come see me, that's abundance mindset. Like, you can figure out where you're at if you're in lack and fear mentality, or if you're in abundance mindset, just by little things like that. And I think that, how we talked about earlier, like, how do we shift out of that? How do we bridge that gap for ourselves if we want to be in spiritual practice in our business? And the biggest thing is just awareness of where your thoughts are, because where your thoughts are and what you're thinking in that moment is going to tell you immediately what it is that you need to shift about yourself, what you need to heal, where spaces that you can grow if you want to keep elevating in your business and making the impact that you're called to make. Like, that was a huge, huge point.
And gratitude. I'm like, and it's being grateful for the things you feel like maybe you shouldn't be grateful for. Like, a client don't choose you. I'm like, dude, thank you. Don't be wasting my time. You go waste somebody else's time. Thank you. I don't want you taking up space, right? Because I'm so grateful for the clients that I get to work with, that we vibe out, and like, I'm all, oh, we were meant to, like, my clients don't. I'm like, we were meant to be friends. We are like the same person. I love you. I love that experience. It's amazing. And I'm so blessed with those kind of clients. Also, because I'm so grateful for them. So I attract more of those clients. And every once in a while, you get something that's not a perfect fit. And then you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So tell me now. Tell me up front.
Totally.
You go work with somebody else. Because what happens is, with gratitude, with that person leaving, with like giving too, you're creating a vacuum, like you clear out that space so that you can attract that right client. So you can attract, the money. So you can attract the things that you're looking to attract. You can't do that a lot of the times when you so holding on to everything so tightly, like the bad client who you really don't want to work with, but you're so scared that the next deal is not going to come. Yeah. So like, you're like, no, I'm going to work with this asshole, but I'm going to work with them and I'm going to hate my job. Let go, let go and surrender. If they choose to work with you, great. But like, if you can't go from holding on to everything so tightly that you have, nothing comes in here. So yay for you. You gotta.
There's that graphic. It's a meme that has a little girl, and she's holding her old stuffed ratty teddy bear, and she's holding it, and Jesus is standing in front of her. And behind his back, he has this ginormous teddy bear, and it's brand new. It's huge. And he's like, with one hand, he's like, give me your old teddy bear. And she's like, no, she doesn't want to, but she doesn't know behind that, if she made room and space and let go of the old thing that she was clinging onto for so long, she would receive the bigger, better thing. And that's where the faith comes in, right? That's the blind faith. We can't see. When we need to let something go, when we need to release something, it is that blind faith. It is that surrender of like, okay, I'm trusting that there is more for me if I let this client go. If that deal fell through and it's like, I'm supposed, like, that's it. I just got to let it go, right? Like, not be bitter about it, not be angry and sad or whatever, feel the feelings, but don't hold on to that. Let it go, because that is creating the space for God, universe, Jesus, whatever you believe in, to bring the next thing that is always, always bigger, better, and in your favor.
Yeah. I sometimes, like, for myself, this is probably random side tangent, but like the idea that like ownership over stuff, you're like, but it's mine, And it's like, the minute you can get over in this life, nothing is yours. Like, there is no owner. Like, I have stuff, sure, but at the end of the day, that's just energy because I was a vessel, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the minute I'm like, none of this is really
Mine.
right? And then it's like, all right, you give like if you're gonna take it. And if you don't want to take it, then don't take it. But like this work, it's also like working with that like God energy in your life and in your business and all that kind of stuff. And being able to like know ownership over all this stuff because it's really just the like energy of the end result of me being in a certain
Right.
frequency and like that it's like we could go on this like
I know.
spacey, real spacey talk, but
Yeah.
you know, the minute you can just be like, okay, you know what, I'm willing to give it up because I know what is to come is better.
Yep.
Then like everything kind of shifts when you can get into that energy space.
All right, we have like 5 minutes left. Do we want to jump on branding or are we?
Yeah, I guess so. We want to talk about branding.
I don't know.
So
I just know you mentioned all the things.
I know. Well, let's talk about branding. I know a lot of people are like, hey, I got my people spend way too much time getting real into like what their color scheme is. Like that doesn't matter. That doesn't like the base. I know you're gonna say it does.
Yeah, I mean,
well, yes and no. I'm gonna say what you need to spend time on is getting to what is the feeling and who do you want to be? Like there are bigger questions about how, because once you figure out what that is, then like your fonts get influenced by what do you want that to feel. So you can tell this Notorious thing is very like royalty-esque, you know, we talking queendom,
very luxury feeling.
Very luxe.
Yeah.
So the colors are informed by that. So we got black and gold. The way that everything like shows up online, it has a certain feeling behind it. And so you know, as soon as you see it, you're like, I got you. So that's like what your branding should do, regardless of how you want to do it. How are ways that people can incorporate themselves into their branding?
You know, it's interesting because I think a lot of people, I don't know. I think they do it all wrong. They do because it's all energy, right? It's the energy behind that. So the first question is who are you and what are you really showing to the world? How are you sharing that in a way that is being felt by people? Because people tend to do branding with just like fonts, colors, and something that they think is going to be memorable. Like people are going to remember me for this thing. And that's not who you are, right? Like, go ahead.
Question.
Yeah.
So I'm like sitting here and I'm like, ooh, maybe there's something here. So, you know, a lot of times when we're having like branding conversations for like who's the ideal client and then being able to like show up so that you're sort of that ideal client. What if it's not really like you need to probably know who you serve, but what if it's really not about them? Like, what if branding is really being unapologetically you and letting the consumer, once you put that out there, they're like, okay, then the right people come to you because you put your branding out in a way unapologetically you.
Right. So that's exactly it. And let's just use your brand as an example, right? And especially like the Notorious event as an example. That the brand, the luxury vibes, the way that it looks and feels, the message that is being put out, which this is all wrapped around the framework that I walk clients through, right? So it's like
it has an attitude.
Huh?
But it has an attitude.
Yeah.
It's Notorious B.I.G.
That's not going to resonate with every woman in mortgage. It's going to be for a very select type of woman who desires connection, who desires collaboration, who likes luxury vibes, who likes to be pampered on and like wants to be in, and not every woman's like that, right? Like that's me, but that's not every woman. And that's not every woman in mortgage. And it is 1,000%. And that's why I said, like, it's going to be who are you? Not what is your brand. When it boils down to it, it's you. And what are the facets, the most authentic brands are going to be the ones that allow sides of themselves to be shown that they would never, that's not professional. I would never show that, right? Like I would never say those things or do those things because that's not professional. Like you can be a professional and make a lot of money and you can still say fuck on all over social media and I'm half naked in my shit all the time. Like people are going to work with me. Like, you're going to embrace you.
Yeah.
Guess what? Guess the women that I attract are women that desire to embody more their sensuality, their sexiness as women. One of the first things I told you when we did your pictures, I was like, you're going to be sexy. Bring your sexy dress. Yeah. Right. Like, you should see, there's pictures we haven't even shared yet that are like so gorgeous and sensual that Paige has, that we have. Right. But it's like reserved for certain things. Now, it's that, like, who you are is I let myself be fully seen and fully heard and use my voice. And Paige does the same thing, which is why you're seeing the elevation in her brand. Go back and look a couple of years and it's going to look completely different. The more you embrace who you are and aspects of who you are and allow that to be seen, tie that all together with someone who can help you package it up so it looks aesthetically pleasing. Because I'm going to tell you something. It does matter what it looks like. Your photos do matter. It's like making a first impression. When you go on a date with somebody, whether it's a man or woman, whoever you're going on a first date, if they look like shit, you're going to be like, I'm out. That is not attractive to me, right? Like, whatever is attractive to you, you're visible. People are visual, right? We're all visual, and we're attracted to things that are packaged nicely or have taken time and energy behind it to show up, right? So we take all of that together, like the fully authentically, who are you? What are you wanting to be seen and known as outside of just the thing you do, outside of just, I sell mortgage, like I sell mortgage, I help people buy houses. Like, what else is there to you? And we put that all together because people want to connect with people. They don't want to connect with what it is you fucking do. Anybody can do that. What sets you apart is who you are.
Who you are. Yeah. So you have to be unapologetically you, which is hard for some of us. It happens over time, and you have to be willing to show up and show out. And then this is also why we have the event, because the minute you try to show up and show out, your brain is going to be like, well, what? Who does she think she is? And we get to deal with that. But the great thing about branding, when you look at it, if we're just looking at mortgage, but this applies everywhere, we all have like a base starting point. If we're on the broker side, not if you're in retail, you got a little bit different structure, but if we're on the broker side, we have access to, unless you're in private money space, we have access to the same products, the same companies with the same term times and blah, blah, blah. So how do you differentiate yourself out between the two of us, or whoever's up there? How do you differentiate yourself out? And that's where your branding really informs that. Because if not, you just a name on a cell phone that they don't know. So variety of different ways that you can incorporate your branding, but first you got to get to know who you are, be unapologetically you, and then build the confidence and into vulnerability, being okay with vulnerability, put yourself out there. So that's also why we need community in doing this, because it is sounds easy, but it is definitely a process.
Yeah. Having people behind you. Yeah. Momentum.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I think we're going to wrap today. Thank you for jumping on and filling in our space. I appreciate the last minute sub. Next week, I don't know. I think we have Brianna Harris coming in next week. Brianna Harris Kimbrough. I don't know how she's doing her last name now, but after she got married, but she's an expert in branding. Oh, thanks, Tina. She's an expert in branding. So I'm sure going to talk branding, also being a mom, because she's got a little one at home. Oh Lord, do I know that challenge with littles and trying to build the business, and woohoo, that's going to be a good one. So next week we'll be back tomorrow at 12 Pacific. If you need tickets to the event, go to notoriouswmn.com. We have our pre-sale going out to the end of the month, and you're going to pay full price. So you might as well save a couple $100 and get your ticket. What else we got to say? Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and then catch us on the next live stream.
See you later.
Bye.